Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in on this fine Wednesday. What a fine Wednesday. What a beautiful, fine Wednesday here in the studio, in the chair. A pleasure to be here. A pleasure to be back on this Wednesday, okay, folks? So, hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and I'm live right now on YouTube, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and, of course, punchy.tv. Punchy.tv. Wait, hold on. While we get that going, it's a pleasure to have you here. You can call me since we are in the chair today and we got some stuff to talk about. You might want to call in 888-775-3773 if you want to get on hold and get on the air with the Anchor Baby. I just turned on auto attendant. You will be taken care of, our automatic attendant. No call screener, but you'll hear my voice. That means you're on hold. And I will get to you. So thanks, everybody, tuning in here on this fine Wednesday. And what are we going to get into? Look, we're getting into that OnlyFans model. You may have heard of her. What an amazing world we have, huh? What an amazing world we have, Bill. Such an amazing world. I love feminism. You got otherwise perfectly fine women just sleeping with 1,000 men. And it's viral and awesome, and it's okay because, you know, you're not supposed to judge, and, you know, the ladies are free. It's my body, my choice. It's an amazing, what a lovely world, huh? What a lovely world we have. Oh, and technology. Nothing wrong there. Social media is totally normal. You know, you got the download an app to prostitute pipeline. They call it OnlyFans. They've made it very palatable. They've got the apps, and they got the brand. The branding and the bubble, and you download it and you pay for the things, and now you're a prostitute. So palatable, so easy. All you got to do is download an app. Bunch of Silicon Valley, lovely stuff. Bunch of kind of sex crazed. You know, they say they want to fix the world's low birth rates, but their solution is just have sex. It's like, nerds, calm down. Do you know that dealing with women is a very ancient thing that societies are brought down by? Let's talk about it. Everyone's weak to the devils destroying the families. And I'm not talking about porn producers. Someone emailed me. You know, someone actually emailed me and told me not to say porn producers. They told me to say Jews instead. And, you know, I told them, porn's not kosher. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, all the men revealing how evil they are. It's an interesting story. You know, I didn't think it was this interesting, but it is. We're going to get into it. Appreciate you being here. 888-775-3773 if you want to get in on the conversation. The super chats are coming in. We'll get to all of you in a moment here. I mean, why don't we just jump right in? I say we just jump right in. Let's see here. That's everything. That's all of our homework, our P's and Q's. One last thing to check. Because, folks, if you can't watch this show on YouTube, you can't watch it on Rumble, you can't watch it anywhere else, there's one place you can watch it, and that's punchy.tv. That's PUNCHIE.tv. Server's going on now. You'll see the Anchor Baby pop up, so save it. That way you always have a place to watch the Bond Network. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? So, she's someone's daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. So check it out. You may have heard this name. Lily Phillips is a name going around right now. Poor Lily. Why, Lily? Lily. There's a female going viral right now, okay? Her name's Lily Phillips. She's described as an OnlyFans model, okay? She's going viral after she attempted, and I believe successfully, I have not seen the video evidence of this, and I don't think I need to, but I believe she successfully slept with 100 men in one day. And that was the big challenge. And this was all documented by some individual, Josh Peters. That made Bill laugh. This individual, he's just documenting. It's for science. It's for science, Bill. Josh Peters, in his documentary released online. It's called a documentary. Look, whatever. It's a documentary, okay? It's educational. And it's a documentary released online. I slept with 100 men in one day. Documentary. Okay, so anyway, that's the story. That's the whole shebang. And a clip from this documentary is going viral, okay? This is what's kind of got people talking. Because this one clip of this documentary, I haven't seen it. It shows Lily crying. Lily, post-events, post-singularity, is crying in this clip. She's crying. She seems emotional. They're asking her, how do you feel, Lily? How do you feel? After we're keeping it clean, folks. We're keeping it clean. We're trying to be classy. We're doing our best. But Lily's crying in this clip. She's crying. Her eyes are red. Which just reminded me of something. Hold on. I had to make a note. Okay. She's crying. She's crying in this clip, and doesn't seem too happy. She seems to kind of almost break. They're asking her how she feels. And she starts off describing it. And at some point, just as she breaks, the emotions come through. Lily cries. Let's watch Lily. And the clip that's got people talking. I'm sure this clip has got people going to watch the documentary, the documented video evidence of such sordid activities. This is Lily. Let's show Lily here. We got Lily. Lily. I like saying it like Trump. Lily, why? Why, Lily? No, Lily, why? What's up, y'all? Lily, let's watch Lily, okay? How about it?
It's not for the weak, girls. If I'm honest, it was hard.
Hey, yo.
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like... It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different...
I still don't know what that word is. It's like being starts with a P, I think.
In a sense of like, it's just a different... It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense.
What does she say there? Don't worry, we won't spend too much time. After this, I'll let the whole clip play.
It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense.
Kind of like being a prostitute, maybe? One more time, then we watch the whole thing.
It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like...
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry. It's okay. Okay. Just take
yeah, 1 minute. It's not for the weak, girls.
It's not for the weak, girls. Randy, baby. That would be way funnier. That would be way better if she did all of it in just like a Austin Powers accent. That would, I think, totally change this video. I think that would totally change this video. Just completely change the vibe, make us kind of take it differently. Randy, baby. Oh, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not, actually. Because it's a lady. It's a female. It's a lady. She mildly? Chat saying she mildly. She mildly, even after all that? Fellas in the chat? Be honest. But okay. You guys saw the clip. She's crying. All right, class. All together now. All right, everybody. Wait, I need something more like a pencil. Something more like. All right, class. All together now. When she's crying, she's lying. Good morning, Mr. Nick. Would my class call me Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Nick? All right, class. All together now. When she's crying, she's lying. No one ever really knows what the villain really looks like. No one really knows. They always feel bad for the villain. They always feel bad for the villain. They call in the victim. They call her a victim. But the villain is the weak one. The one that is crying. The one that is lame and destitute in the gutter. The one with the sullen expression, head hanging low. The one that looks like they wouldn't hurt a fly. The defenseless one. That's the villain. Now, okay. Some people are gonna take that joke. They're gonna take that and write it down in their book of judgments, how to judge others. Oh, look at that person. They're look sad. So now they're evil. So I'm going down a tangent with that. Just the point is, if she's crying, when she's crying, she's lying. When she's crying, she's lying. And it's so, no one gets what the villain really looks like. The one feigning, the one showing themselves to be a victim. The one crying is the one who's lying, the one who's actually a villain. You see, this is what, you get someone who's, let's take just like an out of control glutton who just can't stop stuffing his face. And he's stuffing his face. He's like, I love doing this. And then he's like full and he's hurting. And now he's crying. He's just like, I hate this. I hate stuffing my face. Someone help me. Bill, someone help me. Bill, I can't stop eating. And they're crying. Now they're crying. They're like, this is what an immoral person with a voracious appetite looks like. Without me getting into judgment and like talking about Lily Phillips's heart, just what's on the surface. This is what they look like. People think this is what a repentant person looks like. What a repentant person who's learned their lesson looks like. No, this is what an immoral person looks like. An immoral person cries after they've gotten gorged in their sin or whatever you want to call it. And you'll understand more of what I mean when we look at some of the responses, okay? Mary Morgan. Let's look at some of the ladies responding to this whole fiasco, because they're on X.com and they're putting in their 2 cents. Okay, Mary Morgan here. I don't know who this is, but she's on X, and she was one of the first accounts that caught my eye commenting on this whole situation. I even saw the clip somewhere. I moved on. I didn't think much of it, but hopefully by now you're understanding how a lot of people are taking that clip. They're seeing a person who is maybe says she wants to do this, but doesn't really know. And she's crying because somewhere deep inside she knows what she's really doing and all that. And that may be true. That may be true. In fact, that's very likely true. So take this in. Let's go to Mary Morgan. And what is she saying about it? She says, I watched the documentary about Lily Phillips. This was her immediate reaction after hooking up with 100 men in one day. She was feigning excitement for weeks before the stunt. Now who's the judger? Feigning excitement? How do you know this? She was just lying. Like there's a lot of maybes that people love to say. And everyone has their measured response about this. You're going to notice that everyone has their little measured response, like they're deep or loving at all. They'll say, oh, but I understand, they'll say. But I understand. So Mary Morgan here, she's feigning excitement for weeks. Somehow she knows this. She says, in fear of seeming judgmental, the one and only cardinal sin recognized in modern secular culture, nobody in Lily's life stopped her from hitting self-destruct. And you know what, Mary? That's an interesting comment. It's an upside-down world. It's true. That statement right there is true. In fear of seeming judgmental, that really is at the top of our moral pyramid here in the society I grew up in, at least. I got some international viewers, but this is a culture that's gone global. It really is at the top of this hierarchy. You can't judge. What's judgment to the world, though? Making someone feel bad. And really just describing matter-of-factly the things that people do. Oh, you're sleeping around, huh? Don't judge me. The one and only cardinal sin. It's an interesting way of putting it, Mary, and I think she's right about this one. It's a way the world uses God, kind of like these words that come from the Bible, God's morality. You are not to judge one another. And they totally twist it. And they don't even do it well. That's the funny thing about the world and judgment. They don't even do it well. They'll say, I don't judge, I don't discriminate. That's a bad thing. That's a really bad thing to do. And they're the most judgmental people. They're the ones who discriminate the most. They're the ones who are ready to go at your throat if you disagree with this, their so-called non-judgmental worldview, which is the most, okay? They don't even do it well. That's the funny thing about it. She says, Mary goes on and says, but she will remember the fact that nobody stopped her. Poor Lily. Nobody stopped her. Why didn't anybody stop her, Bill? So what is Mary saying here about Lily? What is she saying? She's saying she will remember the fact that nobody stopped her. So what are you saying, Mary? You're on my side. You're agreeing with me, Mary. You're saying that Lily is a judgmental person who was just feigning tears to flip it on you and use it on you. Why weren't you there for me? She's crying. She's like, I had sex with 100 men. Oh, why weren't you there for me? So you're saying, Mary, that she's in fact quite a judgmental, nasty person. Oh, I wonder if Mary, if that's what you're saying. It sounds like you might be. 888-775-3773. I see calls. I'll get to you. She will count this as evidence that she is worth nothing more than being used sexually. Is what Mary said here. Allow me to develop this further, okay? Mary goes on here with some more commentary. She says she clips out clips out one segment of this documentary where Lily is describing sex. She's talking about sex and how she viewed it at one point and how she views it now. So here's Lily. Here's a little clip that Mary clipped out of the documentary. Let's watch.
Before I had sex, I was never...
It's bleeped out, so they don't bleep it, so you'll hear it like duck out in audio. That's them bleeping out a word. She said sex there.
Before I had sex, I was never much for... I actually wanted to wait till marriage at one point. I just used to think it was a real special thing. As soon as I actually did it and had sex, I kind of realised that it wasn't special. Before I had sex, she says, I thought I wanted to wait till marriage, she said. I wanted to wait till marriage. I thought it was really special, she says. And then she had it. Then she had the sex. And she realized it wasn't special. Oh, there's nothing special about it. Okay. What does Mary say about this little clip that she picked out? What does Mary say? She says she didn't... Mary is commenting on Lily's comments about sex. And what does Mary say? She says about Lily that she didn't have an epiphany one day that sex isn't special. She was hooking up with scores of men who didn't find her special. And she started agreeing with them. It was the men's fault. Oh, so it was the men's fault again. It was the men's fault. That was her. Oh, I get it, Mary. It's the men's fault. You're conservative women. Your wives, your Christian wives, your God-fearing church Bible-thumping women, they
you'll notice constantly, if you were to dig at all, that they feel like this. They feel like it was really not their fault. They're really feminists somewhere. They're all kind of feminists, right? And it's like I had to almost comment on this too, because I hear this. I've heard this all my life. I've heard this all my life from women. Sex is special. That sex itself, that act itself, it's very special. It's sacred. They'll use all sorts of words, whether they're Christian, whether they're secular. They call sex very special, especially if they're young. Can you blame them? Of course not. Either instinctually or they're taught. They know that there's something valuable about, their body, sex, and many things, whether it's from the attention they get or from knowing the life they may bring and the families they may have to be responsible for. But I hear women say this a lot. Women, that sex is so special, but it's an interesting thing, and I wanted to bring this up because I always bring up a question that puts this on his head. Like, the act of sex itself is not special like that, ladies, or holy. And I'm saying this for a reason, because it may be holy, but you don't know that, and I don't know that. It may be holy, but you don't know that. You're just thinking it's holy, and it's bringing on a lot of problems. Let me explain. You see, it's such a weird thing with women and sex. They'll say it's such a special act and holy or special or sacred or act. But the question then becomes, what makes the sex special? Now, invariably, you ask a woman, you'll get into the conversation, you'll ask her, well, what makes the sex special? You eventually get to the point where you ask her, is it the sex itself? They'll say no. No, it's the sex with that person. It's that person. Oh, so that's what makes it special. Well, then, if the sex itself doesn't matter, then it won't bother you if I have sex with someone else, right? And of course, the response to that is, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, then what is it, ladies? It's what makes it special. I think this is a setup, ladies, and when you make something important and holy like that in your mind, you're not really making it holy. You're just thinking of it like that. And if that gets challenged, your world shatters. Do you really want to set yourself up for that? You already got enough of that. Like, people do that with enough things. And they can do that with anything. I can do that with this thing right here. I can literally do that with this thing. I just think it's holy. And you do that with so many things. It's like you do that enough with men. Everybody does that enough with their lives. Sex, making it holy like that, it might be, but you don't know what that means, women. And you know that you're not really thinking about it, because if I asked you point blank, well, if I can have sex, if it's not the sex, it's the person, would you mind if I had sex with someone else, milady? Yeah, no. That's not happening. So just you watch that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to just say that. Okay, let's continue this because we got callers, 888-775-3773. A couple more responses from the women, and then the kicker. I got the kicker for y'all. Okay, where were we? Here's another clip for you. Someone pointed this one out. And we're going, this is Mary again. Mary on X. She picks out another clip from this documentary. And she says, Lily Phillips makes many self-deprecating remarks throughout the documentary, but this one was especially bleak. This one was especially bleak, she says. Shall we?
And do you think...
Hold up.
And do you think your partner one day will be someone from the industry, most likely, or?
Yeah, I talk about this a lot with my parents, because that's the one thing I guess they worry about is, like, will you ever find a boyfriend?
Yeah.
But there's so many guys out in the world. I think, one poor bastard's got to marry me. I rather think it's going to be someone from the industry or someone who is into lending me out.
Lending you out?
Yeah.
And do you think...
Did she already say it? The part that there's some poor... What did she say?
There's so many guys out in the world. I think, one poor bastard's got to marry me.
Woo! There's so many guys out there. Some poor bastard's got to marry me, right? Maybe I won't even tell him. Maybe I won't even tell him I did the 100-man challenge. What's he got to know? None of. Sorry, I'm speaking to the apparitions. And in ladies, if this little skit I just did means you're gathering, if the thing you're gathering from this is me telling you should tell them everybody you slept with, that's not what I'm saying. But it's just an amazing thing to see. It's like the woman that you're, the type of woman that is out there for you fellas. If you were a knight in, I don't know, when they had knights, and you knew, and the women were like they are today with the OnlyFans. You know, there was one part of this where Lily talks about her time in university, in college, and how she was very loose. And she, you know what's funny, what she said about that moment? That all of her friends were like that. And she said, all of them. And then you know what this documentary guy interviewing her said? He said, yeah, I knew a lot of women like that too, but they don't all become OnlyFans models. And I was like, yeah, that's true. They just become wives and girlfriends instead. What the heck? Where have you gone, Dad? Where have you gone, fathers? Look at what's happened. Look at what's happened with the women. Look at what's happened with the men. So anyways, so let's move on from this. She's talking about being a good partner or a good person. It's a funny thing about it. You're not good. You're not good. And the sooner you realize that, you'll lead a better life, honestly. So that's it. I think that's it from the ladies. I guess one more here. Mac, I guess she's a lady. She saw this documentary. She says, I watched the short documentary as well. Throughout, she self-deprecates herself. At one point, the interview asks for a cup of tea, and she says, I'm no good at making tea. I'm only good at one thing. I'm no good at making tea. She says, at one point, I'm no good at making tea. I'm only good at one thing. And sadly laughs. I may have gotten her accent a little wrong. And that was before this. Bleak says, Mac, which I guess may be Mackenzie on X.com. Bleak, so bleak. And callers, don't go anywhere. I'm about to get to you. Appreciate the patience. So bleak. But it's really so shallow. The world is so shallow. They don't love Lily. They're judging her too. Whether you're the one saying that she's just a whore and nasty and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're judging her. I mean, she has done hoary things on camera, and so you wouldn't be judging, you would be describing technically. But if you got anger and you're feeling something about it, you're judging her. So that's one side. And on the other side, you got the people who think she's a victim, sad, or all these other things. They're judging her too. What, you trying to say something, Bill? No, I'm just saying gross. Gross. Bill is saying gross. You're saying this whole thing's gross? It's a mess. We're trying to be classy about it, folks. I don't know if I've done a good job, but it's not a very classy topic. It's not a very classy stuff going on, okay? But we got to deal with this. And Bill, you're welcome to jump on if you like. But what was I saying? They're judging Lily. They're thinking she's good or they're thinking she's bad instead of just, not judging her. I would have a conversation with Lily. I'd be friends with her. I'd be like Jesus about it. Like, hey, those are the trannies, those are the whores, those are the, but how come the whole world can't stop themselves from doing what they don't want to do? I'd talk about that with anybody. And they're judging her. They're so big time judging her, thinking that she's good or bad or anything. And the women identifying with this whole thing like it's their struggle. It's really revealing and kind of pathetic. Like, yeah, girl, men just hate us and make us do things they make us do all these things. It's never our fault, girls. Is that what you're identifying with? It's never our fault, girls. Yeah, girl. So that's the whole spiel with Lily Phillips. Okay, that's the whole spiel. I definitely want to get to my caller here, but we haven't even gotten to the kicker yet. The kicker is most people didn't even watch the documentary. And to be fair, I didn't either. But I watched enough of clips to know that everybody who saw the clip of her crying didn't even watch the rest of it, where And I don't even want to spend any more time on this. Let me go through this really quick. She describes how she started in school sleeping with everyone. Okay, we went through that. She describes how her parents know, and she's a businesswoman with 9 people on her payroll. So all these people feeling bad. Like she talks about how she loves this. She loves being sexualized, making money. She loves it, denies it constantly. And I can agree with the people who think maybe even if she says she loves it, she doesn't really know what she's saying. Yeah, that might be a fair statement. Most people are. But she denies it over and over again to this person who's interviewing her and telling her, I don't believe you. And she says, no, I love this. I love this. My family's okay with it. She does not. They ask her about, is she worried about HIV and STDs with all these men? What's the vetting process? No vetting process. She's like, oh, HIV, is that how you get it? So, yeah, men out there who, that's a warning, by the way, fellas who, oh, she's just a little bit loose. These women don't care about STDs. I think they're when they're kind of slutty like that, I think they're kind of riskier, crazier than men. That's another thing. And then finally, on the clip where she's crying, if you watch the whole thing, she's not even, they ask her, she describes her feelings. She's crying not because of some disaffection and some internal knowing that she's done something wrong. She cries because she feels like she was treated rudely by some of the guys. She describes how basically she gives like each guy 5 minutes. It's like the only way to do it. And I know, I'm sorry. And some guys got mad at that. Some guys got totally mad at that. They're like, oh, so only 5 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And she felt scared. And she starts crying. She starts describing that moment where she felt like a bad guy. They made me feel like a bad guy. You fools. You fools. She's not even crying about what you think she's crying about. She doesn't even care. If you feel bad for this, you don't get it. And not only that, you're judging. You're a judgmental person. And I bet you didn't even know that. I bet you didn't even know that after all that crying and lying, now she's saying she wants to sleep with 1,000 men. She wants to sleep with 1,000 men.
To be with 1,000.
Lily Phillips wants to sleep with 1,000 men in one day. She's got a new plan. Hey, Dad, look at me, no hands.
I want to be the first person to be with 1,000 guys in one day.
Logistically, how long are you going to spend with each man?
In out, I'm hoping a couple seconds at most. We're hoping for some other girls there, make it a bit of an event that the guys actually want to come to and enjoy. And, they don't just get 2 seconds, they get a little bit longer with it. So I started doing porn a year ago now, and I just loved it so much. And I think my was getting quite mundane, and that's when I decided to kind of ramp it up and do some challenges. I'm doing what I love and what I enjoy and making a career out of it. So what's wrong with that,
What's wrong with that? You can't judge. This is the world where you don't judge. What a nice, this is your non-Christian, this is your very non-Christian society. Okay? You mess with the controls. You mess with the ingredients. You mess with the controls and the ingredients. You happy? This is the Frankenstein you get. Some people are fine with it. Whatever. It's not my world. I'm not going to get bent out of shape about it. We're just going to do a show about it. But look, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. And we're going to get this story settled and get to this call. Thanks for the patience. 888-775-3773. Don't go anywhere. I'm about to get to you. So let's finish this off, because all I really want to say about this now is, let me think. There was one part, a clip I saw where her and some other women in the industry talk about a very interesting thing they all share. And I thought this was a very fascinating moment, because they all have an experience they all share. Whether it's the OnlyFans model, the prostitute on the street, the one doing the 100 Men challenge, or the woman or the individual getting a tattoo. They all describe this similar experience where first it starts off small and then it's a runaway train. At first it's a little tattoo and then I just can't stop. I get another one. They all have the same beginning. It's very interesting. And did they really choose what they're doing now? Can you really look at Lily and say, you're, and you could say, well, she's not a victim. She's crying and lying. But to put her as on a pedestal of evil, like she's more evil than than the people, the men around her, etc., you'd be an absolute fool. Let me explain. You see, like a tattoo, like anything in life, one thing led to another. She couldn't ever quite figure out why. And you can relate to that, right? You'd be dishonest if you couldn't. There's something to be said about this making prostitution, really, sex work, they'll call it. There's something to be said about how the barrier to entry, technology has made the barrier to entry into this industry much lower. But what is this industry? Prostitution. And the whole thing is like a sanitization of it. It's really, really, it's like a never been done before thing. It's like that's the level OnlyFans, the impact OnlyFans has. It has had a sanitization effect on sex work, prostitution, what has been always sordid. And in a first ever, they're actually dressing it up, and that's all they're doing. That's the only thing you can ever do with this, dress it up. It stays sordid and dark. Dress it up and make it palatable. They've done an incredible thing, really. It's sick. And about, so there's something to be said about that. And I wanted to finish off this segment on this topic of addiction and getting better. I wanted to speak on this briefly because, and so how do we get into this? Because I know she's crying and she's lying, but Lily and really a lot of the world, the whole world they're going through stuff. They call the Jesse Lee Peterson show all the time. They really are going through stuff. They're subject to their emotions, subject to their appetites, completely in prison. In a world that looks free, where you're not allowed to discriminate and you have freedom. And they're in prison, in their minds, worrying, full of emotions, doubt, fear, anxieties, appetites they can't control or understand. And the question is, it's a huge industry trying to get people off addictions, AA. There's all this stuff and programs, ridiculous amounts of money just thrown at it. There's people going through stuff. And so the question becomes, how do you get over appetite? How do you get over addiction and appetite? So I want to speak on this briefly. I want to start off by talking about false morality. I think we have to start there. You see, people have a false morality of stuff. You heard even Jesse say about morality, and I have a little bit of an example. In fact, recently on my show, we were talking about looking at your girl. Would you let another man look at your woman, and how would you handle that? Some, I believe it was a caller on my show, said they wouldn't allow that. It's not okay. Most men kind of agree, whether they're Christian, secular, whatever. I think the vast majority of men don't want you looking at your girl, and they're gonna get jealous, or they feel like they need to say something, or they feel, or they know they're not supposed to get jealous, so they do some meta game and play and do something else that the world taught them. And I was thinking about false morality, like you just heard that somewhere. You just heard you're not supposed to look at your girl, but you don't own a body. And who are you? And what do you say? And I'm like Trump, I was saying that day. I'm like Trump. Yeah, my girl is beautiful. Yeah, look at her. Now, I'm not. The question now becomes, well, but you're a Christian. You're not supposed to let your woman be not dress modestly. Well, that's a different question now. But am I going to worry about another man looking at my woman? False morality. You see, the topic becomes lust. And there's a whole bunch of people in my chat, in my own chat, they call themselves Christian, and a shout out to the people who call themselves Christian. But they'll say, it's so immoral to look at porn. It's so immoral to lust. It's so immoral to have sex out of wedlock. And some of them will even say that they don't do that. They've overcome that, they'll say. And you know why I know they're not really thinking? You know why I know that you're not really thinking? because they'll say, well, sex is just for babies. They heard Jesse say, sex is just for babies. Well, let's check our understanding for a moment. Are you saying you're not gonna feel lust when you do finally have babies? No, sex is just for babies. I'm a moral Christian man, and I do not lust. Sex is just merely for procreation. All right, so when you do the procreation, what do you say? I'm not gonna lust. I'm not gonna feel anything. You don't really know. I would venture to say. I'd venture to say you don't really know. You don't really know. So what am I saying with all this? I'm trying to get the perspective right. Because the people who are saying and judging others for not overcoming lust and thinking they've overcome lust, you have to understand what you're really declaring. I'm not saying that sex out of wedlock and be immoral with sexuality. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying you're already doing that. You don't need me to tell you it's okay. It's okay that you're sin, that you're whatever. Don't judge yourself. You don't need me to tell you that. You're already doing that. I'm saying that for the ones that are saying I've overcome it or are judging lust, what you're declaring is that you've overcome Satan. You've overcome the devil all the way. You've heard Jesse say the last two things you got to overcome is food and sex. So I'm just getting your perspective right. I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you to get your perspective right, and you might realize you're pretending. You're pretending. Lust is in the mind. Remember what Jesus said? So I'm not justifying it. Look, you don't need me to tell you all that, but on addiction and bettering yourself and overcoming these things for real, I'm sorry to tell you that there really isn't much to say. When you see the drug addict on the street or your family member who's a drug addict, there's really not much you could say or do. There's in fact nothing. To the vast majority of people you see addicted to stuff, they're gone. They're gone. And there's really only kind of one thing that changes your appetite. That starts like changing your appetite. And how do I put this? I'm putting this in my words with the life I've experienced, okay? And it's that my desires simply changed. It's like video games. Like, yeah, I like video games. I grew up playing video games. If I had all the free time in the world, I'd probably be playing a whole bunch of video games. But then I said that the other day. But then I really thought about it. I do have a bunch of time, and I don't spend it playing video games. Why? Because I genuinely want to spend my time building my channel, working on this, working on other things. It used to be that I didn't. I just kind of wanted to sit down and waste my life playing video games. I would lie to myself. I'd tell myself I didn't want to do that. But there I was, wasting my life. So there's really not much you can say. Your desires have to really change. And where do you start with that? You got to start with admitting that your desires, your appetites are the way they are because that's what you are hungry for. You're hungry for wasting your life. You're hungry for eating bad food. You're hungry for thrills. You're hungry for it. And I really can't tell you much besides that you have a wicked heart. And that's where you got to start. That's where you got to start. So knowing and seeing that that's something you really don't want, and just going from there. Because there's really nothing you could tell someone. There's really nothing you could tell someone. What that person is doing is, the homeless person is homeless because they want to be. You understand? So that's what I had to say about addiction and this whole shebang here. If I could just at least leave you with something to think about. It's not all dark and nasty and disgusting. It's just these women are whores. No. People are judgmental. They're wicked. All the men judging her have they got their appetite. And they have that appetite because of this initial beginning point. And the initial point is this wicked heart. It's not a genetics. There's all these things. It's a wicked heart. You are wicked. You have the 7 deadly sins they talk about, the Catholics say. You have all those. You're like all those things. And that's why you're having sex with 100 men, and then you get the thrill, and then you cry about it afterwards. Like, look, I'm so full. I don't want to do this. And you're just on a roller coaster. And on this roller coaster, you use things to make yourself feel better. And then when you're using those things, you get a thought in your head that says, I'm addicted to this. And that's all it is. When there was one part where Lily Phillips describes the 100 men she had sex with. And I thought this was the most honest part, where she said, I can't even remember the 100 men. If I didn't have the video, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't even know or remember that I had sex with 100 men. And let's say she was really crying because she somewhere deep down knew something was wrong. All she's crying about is a memory. All she would be crying about, and that's what anybody's crying about, is a mere thought. An artifice in your mind that no longer exists. So that's my spiel on Lily Phillips. I rest my case. That's it. I want to get to this call. I appreciate you holding patiently. 888-775-3773. What a mess. We try to keep it classy. I can't wait to see what chat is saying about this. I've not even looked. What a mess. But my caller has been waiting very patiently, and I do appreciate it. Let's get to my caller here. Hold on. I'm opening up my phone lines. I'm connecting. We got a caller who's been waiting patiently. Your name and where are you calling from? Thank you.
Hey, man. It's Josh from Georgia.
Josh, how you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Well.
Yeah, but...
well, Josh.
Well. Yeah. Yeah, man. This story went viral on Netflix. Netflix
on X, yeah.
X.
Right, especially her clip crying when they asked her how she feels about having sex with 100 men. It's everywhere. At least on my social medias.
So, wow. And it's like, and she's in London, right? So this is worldwide.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think she is. I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure she is over there in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first heard it, it sounded like it was just propaganda that they're pushing, or did it just, when stuff goes viral, does it naturally go viral? Or is this like, the deep state trying to, get everybody, influence the masses, right?
Yeah, I have my own, I've actually thought about this, and this might be a bit of a tangent, but my personal conspiracy is that they are unable. Like you can astroturf a whole bunch of stuff. There's ways to give things fake views and all that, but the signs are there when something is astroturfed, and you can't really. And the machine, the establishment would love to recreate virality, and they've been trying since day one, ever since the first viral video, but they just quite can't. And I may even be able to think of some examples for you, but a bit of a tangent. What were you saying about it? Go on.
Yeah, because so this being viral is different than being like the insurance CEO that got shot. Mm-hmm. That's not viral. That's just a story that the mainstream media is pushing, right?
Oh, this is an interesting question.
Right.
I think it is viral, though. I think it is. Naturally viral in that way because of the nature of the story. I think people really are clicking on it, and they're like, "Whoa, assassination in the streets of New York, very public." Yeah, I think it's a combination in this one.
The combination?
Yeah, I'd say we got hybrid influences on that one.
Okay, because that's the thing. Anytime I hear stories, like this, I don't really know, but maybe that's my thoughts. Like how people didn't believe Trump got really shot.
Yeah,
there's people who still don't believe that.
That's true.
But yeah, it does bring up a lot. Like I don't know. Like you said, laying eyes on somebody's wife is the same. If 1,000 guys laid eyes on your wife, that's really, in the spirit world, right? That's the same thing as 1,000 guys doing what this girl did, right?
How so?
Because, like technically, not technically, but isn't it like the spiritual world? It's like if you think about if you lay eyes on a woman and you think about being with her, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's
No, I'm
the
following
same thing
you.
as actually doing it, right?
No, I'm following you. I'm just kind of I'm trying to even push that even further and to like think about that have even more awareness on that, because I know where you're getting at.
Right.
Like Jesus even said, you guys say you're not supposed to sleep with another man's wife, but I say if you just look at a woman with lustfully,
that's the same thing.
You've done something in your heart, and so I get what you're saying, but what I'm getting at is that, well, let's be accurate here. No. 1,000 women looking at my woman, 1,000 men looking at my woman lustfully is not 1,000 men having sex with her. Like, no, having sex is having sex. You know what I mean? Having sex is having sex. But what they have done, which I just feel like the point of what Jesus said is not to equate the mind to physical actions, but to make a much higher standard for judgment and what sin and evil is. It's not to say that when you lust for someone in your mind, you've had sex with her. It's like, no, you haven't. Having sex is sex. That's a physical act. But people will say, well, only when you physically touch someone did you cheat and did you have sex. But no, it starts way, way before. Women will look at all these men cheating physically, but you ask any woman, if they're honest, they'll know they won't like it if men do this thing they call emotional cheating, which is, I think, a misnomer. But they won't like it. They will not like it. They'll be like, no, that's cheating. And yet women do that all the time. They do it all. Your darling little wife is you know what I'm saying?
Most women, all my exes, if they caught me watching the pornography, they would be like mad at me.
Right.
You know?
But we don't say anything when we see them twirling their hair to the fella who just walked into the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
you don't think it's the same thing?
No, of course not. Sex is sex and thoughts are thoughts, right? But
it's
worse. It's worse. I say it's worse. Of course, like Jesus said, you guys think that having sex with the wife's cheating, but no, if you just think of her lustfully, you have committed, if not something worse. I'd say it's worse, but you're trying to equate
thinking
it
is
like,
worse, you think?
Of course,
thinking is worse.
The thought of it is bad enough, is what I'm trying to say.
So it's worse than the action, or no?
The thought is bad enough.
Okay,
is what I'm trying to say.
So it's equal. It's equal then.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you point blankly. If you think about a woman, when you think lustfully about a woman, let's say you don't have to tell us, but let's say that woman yesterday, you or the other week that you thought of lustfully, Josh.
Okay.
Were you having sex with her?
I think I was, bro.
Tell me how.
What do you mean?
Tell me how you had sex with this woman. You saw a woman walk by. You thought of her lustfully. You, Josh, are telling me you had sex with her. I say, what's your evidence?
I think because it's something we all inherently know. If like.
So if I went up to that woman and asked her, "You had sex with Josh?" What would she say?
She would say no, but.
And why?
If you ask God would know. No. And that's all that really matters, right?
God wouldn't say you had sex with her. That'd be ridiculous. He would say that you lusted. He would say you lusted for her in your heart, and that's all I need to know. But if
same thing. That's the same thing, right?
But it's not. It's not. It's like I'm being very specific, and I think God is quite. I think God is still logical. Like let's say I had anger. Let's say I had anger for my fellow man. I would be no better than a murderer. But I did not stab someone.
Right.
And God would not say, you stabbed John. It's like, no, you stabbed John in your heart. You know what I'm saying?
So you're differentiating.
A little bit. I'm splitting hairs a little bit.
Okay,
but
a little bit.
I'm splitting hairs a little bit. That's fine. Maybe I'm being a mere mortal over it. But come on. It's like God would not say that let's say I had anger for you, Josh, and I don't. But let's say I had anger for you. God would not say I stabbed you for real with a real knife. That would be a lie. That would be a lie.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just what matters.
Right, you know, but you're saying that you had. If you think of a woman lustfully, you had sex with her. It's like, no, you didn't.
I think you do. I think it is, bro.
No,
I think
you
it's the same thing.
Well, no, you didn't.
No,
you didn't.
Because it's like you know, in old times, you know, like Little House on the Prairie, you know, they made women cover up with the bonnets, and that's what, you know, the Muslims do with the hijabs, because they don't want
Right.
It's bad for society
To
for
stop
men to
temptation.
even look at women.
Right,
Yeah,
to stop temptation.
To even look at them.
But it's not to
'Cause
stop
looking at
men.
them is just the same thing as
But
doing
it's not
that.
to stop men from having sex with your wife just by looking at her. That's not even possible. You don't have sex. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm being a stickler. I know I'm splitting hairs.
No, it's interesting, man. I like.
We gotta
I
be.
like,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I like different takes, man. Because it's like, maybe it's to the point. I'm at this point in my life now where like I look at all women as like that's somebody's daughter, you know?
Right.
And like I used to be heavily into the S word thing and chasing women left and right, trying to. And I didn't care about if it was somebody's daughter, but I don't know. I think maybe when you get older, you kind of like.
So you think sex is just for babies?
I mean, I
don't disagree with that statement, but I just want to know what you think.
I don't know because I mean, yeah, I of course I
think
agree.
it is.
I agree.
I think it is.
Yeah, of course it is. But people can't help themselves though.
But let's say you get married, Josh, and I know this is a what if. We don't know the future. But what do you think is going to happen when the rubber meets the road and you go and make that baby?
Bro, I may go. I don't know.
Like
I've always had issues with the S word in the past, and it's like I can't control. I'm one of the people that doesn't drink because I know if I drink, I'm gonna go too far. I'm already like
there's some wisdom in that. I get
drinking.
It. Yeah, there's some wisdom
some people
in that.
know themselves that. Right, I'll be the designated driver, bro, because I'm not. Y'all don't want to see me drink. Y'all don't want to stay away.
Right. You know where not to. You know not where not to go and.
I know my boundaries.
I get you.
Right, but so it's like, and I see it as like I'm not even in control of that, bro. I don't even that I look at that's not me, and I don't know what I'll do, and if it happens, oh well. I can try my best not to, but if it does, oh well. And because there's been so many times when you like trying to force yourself not to, do things, and it's like it pushes you into it deeper, So that's my whole. That's my whole outlook.
What do you think about?
Life
Yeah. What do you think about my commentary on that specifically too?
On addiction,
it's like you can't. It's like you spend time trying to fix it. Like you said, you go deeper until you have problems with it.
Right.
It's like instead of spending all that time trying to force something you can't, why not realize that that's like what you want to do? What do you
that's
think about
what
that?
Lily did. That's probably what Lily did. She knew that. She knew before when she was a younger girl that she had those urges, and she probably tried to stifle them, and then it came back at 100-fold, and now she's here.
Yeah.
That's probably what she's going through. Yeah.
True say, Josh. Yeah. Fascinating, sir. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, man. It's an interesting subject, man.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, bro.
Man, thanks for tuning in and putting in your 2 cents, sir.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you, man.
Call me again.
Yes, sir.
888-775-3773. What a mess. 888-775-3773. If I may, on a little part 2-ish, sort of, talking about the wrong view of sex and men and women and all this. I showed you all those women reacting to Lily Phillips' story and really judging it, feeling bad for her, getting mad at her and judging her or whatever. You saw all that. Here's the thing about this porn and sex stuff and why women kind of have to stay out of it. Why women really, really should just stay out of it. You really should just stay out of it because all you're going to get from this is another way to judge your man. Really, you're really not understanding it. Very few are. Very few men are understanding this. So really, really, you should just stay out of it. And this is why, because you get this, here's a good example. For example, Nicole, I don't know who she is. Nicole here is on X.com, and she has her almost 10,000 followers. Nice job, Nicole. Very good. Doing the, they'll call it duck face. What is this? Prostitute face. We got them lips face. You know what I mean? Whatever. You can call it what you want. They call it a duck face. Nicole, she says, she is responding to this post on X. And what did this individual do? In fact, he goes by Alphabet City Individual. Take that in. So Alphabet City Individual here on X.com posts this picture of these three lovely reporter ladies on ESPN. He's watching his sports ball. He's watching his sports ball. He's like, oh, look at the pretty ladies on my TV, yay. And he says, would, hashtag CFB playoffs. And he's like saying basically that he would have sex with them. That's what he's saying. Would, bro, would. And let's be real. Who in my chat is not saying would? Okay? Whatever. Look, this is just talk. We're talking shop. The fellas are here. They're watching their football. And he's saying totally would, bro. And what does Nicole have to say about this? She took umbrage to this. And she retweeted this, reposted this, and she wrote, in 2025, I encourage men on here to stop watching porn. Find a hobby. Go outside, read a book, exercise, socialize with people. Literally change the wiring of your brain. So every time you see a woman doing her job, you don't automatically think about sex. Oh, Nicole. Poor Nicole. If she only knew, if she could read the minds of men, she would hate them all. Oh, Nicole, poor Nicole. I mean, I feel like this gets to a little bit of what I'm talking about and everything that's wrong with the world. You know, she's here not knowing that the vast majority of men that she would respect even, all the men in her mind that she's thinking of that are not like this and that she respects, would in fact look at those three women and think the very same thing. Men with education, men with money, men with class, men with happenstance, men with status are doing the exact same thing. This woman doesn't know what she's talking about, and is using this as a way to hit men over the head. You got like, oh, I caught you doing something bad, and it's like people hear me say this like, oh, Nick justifying lust. In fact, don't I even have a super chat here? An interesting one. 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𒔔, this is a good super chat, says, why is it hard for you to admit that overcoming sin is not only possible, but easy? People love acting like victims of sin instead of perpetrators, which is so true. You know, it's like they see her as a victim. She's not a victim. And it's not hard for me to admit. In fact, that's part of what I'm trying to say here. The world says, I'm an addict. The world says, I'm no good. And they're all lying. Showcase personality. Because they'd rather be in that sin. And what is the sin I'm talking about? The real bad one. Not the sex, but the hate. The wicked heart. The wicked heart that feeds these appetites, that has you into all these things that are destroying you and others around you. They would actually much rather stay there. You tell them, hey, you can overcome this. They'll get mad at you. They'll tell you, why are you judging me? So you're so true. You're so right, �𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍�. But I'm nitpicking a bit because when I'm commenting on Nicole, it sounds like I may not believe what you're talking about, �𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. But here's what I'm trying to point out. That even the people who say what you're saying is true, Kale, don't believe it. Even they don't believe it because they'll say, well, I've overcome lust. I've overcome lust. And they'll judge Nicole. They'll judge others. When Jesus said lust is in the mind. So I'm not saying that you can't overcome that, but just be aware of what you're declaring. You're making quite a big declaration. So you don't feel any anger at all? Beautiful. Tell the world, but it better be true, you know? And it feels like if the people who are saying you can overcome don't know just how deep it is what they can overcome. It's everything. I believe it, but it's everything. The thoughts, the anger, the emotions, the lust. You're saying you've overcome it all. So hopefully that just kind of puts things into perspective. It lets you not, it puts you into the right level where you don't have to now judge these men. It's like the last thing you overcome. And whatever. So hopefully you get it. Amazing super chat, �𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍�. Very nice. Another one from him says, sadly, 100+ body count is very normal nowadays. That is crazy, Kale. Because what's crazy is you guys don't know how true that is. Yeah. No, I don't think most men. Yeah, men. Look, it's all loose. It's a little looser for everybody, but for the women, it's out of control. And I know I got a lot of anecdotal stuff. I'm thinking of a lot of individuals I know and what they've admitted to me. So whatever. Look, maybe you need stats or something. I don't know. I'm not here to try to prove something to you. Figure it out. Look around you. But 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 is nonetheless correct. 100 plus body count. Maybe not in one night. But you do not want to know about her college years. Just saying. John T. Psycho, thank you so much with the super chat, says, Mary is the real MVP. Mary, not Lily. John T. Psycho, very nice. He also says, I disavow my last super chat about Mary. John T. Psycho, I don't know, man. This is immortalized in my archive here. I don't know, and I can't even delete it, so. Lin Yan Chin with the back-to-back super chats, thank you, sir, says, have you advanced my walls of text for Bill to analyze? Bill, are you still here? Come back. I got something to show you. Lin Yan Chin has something for you. Have you advanced my walls of text for Bill to analyze? You don't have to play my vocal expounding on breath since you don't want to. It's not that I don't want to. I want to show it to Bill, Lin Yan Chin, the way you want him to. You want me to show Bill, right? So I'm waiting for Bill. Lin Yan Chin says, what the Vey haters refuse to acknowledge is that more than 98% of that demographic isn't actively undermining moral integrity of civilization. What are you talking about? What the Vey haters... Oh, the Oy Vey haters? Okay, let me read this again. What the Vey haters, and I think he's saying Oy Vey, refuse to acknowledge is that more than 98% of that demographic isn't actively undermining moral integrity of civilization. Lin Yan Chin, I think I agree with you. Some people might disagree. I don't know. Actually, I really don't know. I mean, they're all liberals. They're very liberal. And these liberals, they hate white people. They hate the family. They hate God and Jesus. I don't know. I really don't care. I think you should just be allowed to talk about it. That's what gets me. You should be allowed to just talk about things. What the heck? But I tend to agree, Lin Yan Chin. They're like builders. They're like builders and makers. Everybody else is shaking their fist. So sad. Pathetic. Okay, let's see here. Buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Appreciate the support. Whoa. What's up, Jalen? We got a coffee. I don't know if I've ever read you coffees, but I've heard you sending coffees to the other shows, I think. I don't know if I have the right guy here. But here we go. Let's just read it out. How about I just read it out? Jalen 8 with a coffee says, I was going to say something bitchy, but I'll refrain. Oh, well, thank you. I do believe those who battled addictions can be saved and that it's temporary if they choose it to be. You have your battles with addictions. How'd you get over them? I would not personally lust after that lady Nicole or any woman. And it's not what you're thinking. I'm just not someone who instantly thinks about sex with people who I'm attracted to. Sex is not just to procreate. Having that mindset is seeing humans as objects. It's kind of a thought-provoking coffee there, Jalen. You say, I do believe those who battled addictions can be saved. Well, if you were listening to me, I didn't say they couldn't. But you got to take in the world. They got all these programs. They got all these things. They got interventions, and they got families crying and wishing, and they're like looking into the eyes of their loved ones saying, why are you doing this to yourself? None of it works. I'm not saying they can't be saved. I'm just saying there's nothing in this world that can save them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you there is not a thought, an ideology, a program, a dollar, a person that can save them. They have to just not want to destroy their lives. And if you ask me, it seems like the only thing to really kind of get to that, it's like God's got to do it. God's got to change your heart and change your mind. We're talking about changing hearts and minds of people for freak's sakes. And I've yet to find a single ideology, sentence, poem, program that does it. I didn't want to waste my life on video games anymore. I genuinely want to spend my time on something else. And I don't think anything but that would have stopped me. You say, Jalen, that you would not personally lust. That's not what you do. You don't go around instantly thinking about sex with people. Fair enough. Hey, right on. What about the people you are attracted to? Huh, suddenly you're like the rest of us, huh? Jalen. Appreciate your coffee, though. Appreciate that. Very cool. Someone with the coffees, thank you for the all the support, man. Thank you very much. Mildegrew, what's up, Rumble? What's up, DLive.tv? How you liking the show? How you liking the topics and stuff? Very nice. What's up, DLive? Very cool. Let's see what else. All right. So that's the super chats and all that. 888-775-3773. Hold on. We got another super chat here. Matthew with the super chat says, is it better off if she'd be with her husband 100 times in a day asking for a friend? Would it be better if a woman had sex with just her husband 100 times in a day as opposed to 100 different men in a day? Yeah, I'd say just being whatever, just being worldly, if we're going to call it something. Maybe we don't have to call it anything at all. Yeah, I think it'd be better if she had sex with her husband 100 times in a day. It's just more ordered. Without going to the Bible just yet and all that, because it's in the Bible. And maybe not in those words, Matthew, if you're going to burn. But it's just more ordered. It's like evident to see a woman having sex with 100 different men, and you got to have them come in, and they're lining up. They're coming in from flights. You got to vet. Well, they're barely vetting them, but they're applying. They're like hungry. What about any of that scene is normal and ordered and positive and creates good? It's just kind of evident. It's disordered and chaos and gross and very low, very, very low. So, it's just kind of evident. Let's see what else here. Did I miss any super chats? Let's see what the chat is saying. I got other topics for you, not so fleshed out. We'll run through them if we need to. Let's see what the chat is saying. I barely looked at the chat. 888-775-3773. Let us check out the chat. What are the people saying about all this mess so far? I can't scroll up too much, but let's see. Let us see what y'all are getting into. Because we'll get into a funny video and some interesting stuff with Iran and immigration, H-1B. So we'll see if we could do all that. We got just some topics here. I bet it's a cheap production. It's not like you got to pay the 1,000 guys. Yeah. I don't know the details of the production, but I did see one little clip where she's describing this, how there's no vetting. It's just they gave out a phone number. She shows the phone, and it's just constantly text, like constantly. Just men who they interview some of these guys. They change their voice and they hide their faces. And some of them are pretty young. They're like, if me dad found out, I'd be kicked out. It's like, what the heck? If me dad found out, I'd be kicked out. They're talking about that one of these guys was like shaking. He's like, I don't know why I did that. Yeah. It's a mess. Hey, Nit, when it comes to helping the poor or homeless, you should read Matthew 25, starting around verse 34. Should give you the gist. All right, Reese's Vids. Okay, the parable of the 10 virgins. Matthew 25. I'm about to get learned. You about to learn today, boy. Starting around verse 34. Let's see here. This better say, go and help the homeless. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Okay, Reese's Vids, you heard that, chat. If you guys know a homeless person, if you know someone destitute, if you know an immigrant, if they need somewhere to live, if they need food to eat, send them Reese's Vids way. You heard him. He's a Christian. Make sure you send the homeless his way. He read Matthew 25. So make sure you send them Reese's Vids way. You have no problem with that, right, Reese Vid? He read Matthew 25, so make sure you send the homeless, the destitute, the drug addicted, those who are hungry, those who are sick, send them Reese's Vids way. He read Matthew 25. Let's see here. We're still scrolling through the chat, see what you lovely people are talking about. And then we'll get to more topics. And if someone was trying to call me, you can call me back, 888-775-3773. Oh, man. I wonder what I'm not wondering too hard, but I'm sure the smell when will you women cover up, says other side. Oh, man. Immodest dressing is sinful behavior, but it's been so normalized, nobody wants to think or talk about it. What's sinful about it, Pinecone? Cess is for marriage. Is that what you call it, David Ridgway? A horn dog? I disavow. Some ladies, it don't even matter if she's in a turtleneck and a long dress. She looking tasty. Matthew loves a classy woman. Is cess for marriage or is cess for the not married unless you intend on marriage and should wait until? Him Diddy posits for the chat. What do y'all think? What about tantric sex rituals? Is that evil? Sacred cess with only one partner. It's like these are, you might think that's ridiculous, but I like questions that kind of put things on its head, not in an evil way to say that, oh, that means, so what, tantric sex? Are you going to tell me that's bad? I like stuff that puts the concept on its head, not in an evil way to detract and say, see, sex is a construct. You can just have sex with whoever you want. It's not sacred, you dummy. But to put a higher standard on even the Christians. To go the other way, like Jesus. What the? Cess is spiritual. That's an interesting comment. What do y'all think? What's spiritual about sex? Maybe it is. It's just we throw these things out. We say these things, but do we know what we're saying? These are your whites, says He Black. Whatever, He Black. You're just trying to get it. I don't even know why I'm defending the whites. Because they're right. It's really annoying how you nerds talk about sports. Wait, how did I talk about sports? Sports ball. I like sports. I like soccer. I like playing it. When I saw soccer and something clicked, I wanted to go outside. I wanted to get a soccer ball and go outside that day. But it's like, I know the sports guys like the sport, but eventually, it's like sometimes these guys are just, it doesn't sound like you guys really love the sport, the physics, the game. You guys are into the drama. This QB got traded, and I guess that's part of the game too, but I can't, like, for example, being for one team. Call me an international, rootless anchor baby with no allegiances, whatever. But how can you root for one team? And it's like, if your team is not the best, look, it's one thing to say, I'm from Green Bay, and so I love the Green Bay Packers because it reminds me of where I'm from. But it's like, I know people who are into teams, and it's not because of that. I know people who are into teams just because that's the team they like for some reason. And their team is not even that good. It's like, I'm a fan of whoever's the best. I'm a fan of whoever is doing it the greatest of all time. It's like, what? Who's kicking the ball right? I don't care what shirt he has on. Sorry. That's my little tangent on sports ball. Let's see here. What's chat saying? What's chat saying? What's chat saying? We're almost done here. We're almost done. Freud was way off base saying considering sex the fundamental motivation. What do you think about that, Necio? Do you have another? Do you have a replacement for that? And would you say there's another fundamental motivation? Thoughts on that? I'd like to know. Terry cherishes the men, and we cherish Terry. Terry, amazing. Yeah, 100 guys in one day, and she's not even done. Now she wants to do 1,000. Now she wants to do 1,000, and everybody was feeling bad for her. They're like, Lily, she's crying. She doesn't really want to do this. And then the day after, she's like, yeah, I think I'm ready to do 1,000 in one day. Y'all got egg on your face. So how about you stop judging people? You're so judgmental. She's so good and victim and nice. Yeah, you're judging. You're judging when you're doing that. Oh, you didn't know you could judge that way, huh? What a mess. Ivana, this is true. What's up, cuz? You are absolutely correct. Bill is, in fact, in the break room like this. Making that exact face. You're in fact absolutely correct, Ivana. How'd you know? Okay, and that's the chat, folks. That's the chat. They take a number like a deli, I assume. What a mess. I'm not repeating that, Kevin. It's an old game. Amazing. All right, so that's it. We got another super chat. Wait, hold on. We got more super chats coming in. Carver with a link. Hold on. Let's see what the people are saying. They are super chatting the anchor baby. They want him to see something. Lin Yan Chin with a super chat says, spiritual mean of spirit. Spiritual means of spirit. Spirit means source. Biology is sourced through coitus. That means sexuality is spirituality. Discovering one's origin. You got the brain percolating. Lin Yan Chin. That's amazing. Carver sent me a YouTube link. What did you just send me here? Oh, Lord. Carver with a super chat.
Delicious. I will seriously consider purchasing this product. Oh, what have we here? May I partake?
Chat, viewers, I present to you this clip without comment. And if you don't follow, then you need comprehension skills or something.
Purchasing this product. Oh, what have we here? May I partake?
Oh, sausage son. Plan to buy great amount for samurai buddies.
Sir, you don't have to keep moving to the back of the line. You can have as many as you want. They're free.
What are you talking about? Hey, can I have some more sausage? Yeah, me too.
Family Guy, Seth. Very nice. Funny stuff. Thematic. I love it. Thank you, Carver. It's just so thematic. And I do love it. Presented to you without commentary. There were different guys. It was different guys all along. What the? Amazing. Roadhouse. Okay. Let's move on. I think we can move on. Last bit of the show. How about we run through some of these news items I have for you? Because we kind of went through what we had to get through here. So check this out. How about we run through this? Here's something funny for you. Palette cleanser? Whatever, it's just silly. It's an amazing video. And let me get the story straight. Let's get the story straight. It's an amazing video. It's of a man. This man seems to be angry. He seems to be quite disgruntled, not happy with whatever situation he's in. He may even be in a situation he did not even plan because the man is barely wearing any clothes. He seems to be in his underwear. And you know, when you're out in the streets of Hong Kong, well, I don't know where this is, but when you're out in the streets of some Southeast Asian country, and you're only in your underwear, and law enforcement is trying to subdue you unsuccessfully, you know you got yourself into a little situation, okay? That we can gather. That we can be sure of. But the funny thing about this is this man is clearly in some Southeast Asian country, but his body, his genetics, his stock is quite evidently not of a Southeast Asian country. And it's like nobody can control him. It's like nobody could do anything. This Russian, this Eastern European guy, I don't know what he is, but not a single Southeast Asian man can control him. They're afraid of him. He's an absolute beast. He is the king of this country. And it's amazing to see. Watch. With his shouts alone, he has made the Southeast Asian law enforcement stand down. With shouts alone, turning the situation into a purely primal one. They may as well be out in the wild, and this may as well be an encounter of two beasts, or really of one beast, one predator, and a pack of herbivores. Godzilla! They're backing up. He's making him back up. He's making him back up. If that was a black man in America, he would already been shot. Okay? If this was a black guy in America, he'd already be dead. Okay? The cops would have already shot him. Why does this country not have guns? You know, I'm making a joke about that, and I know some racists, some whatever, people who believe in racism would say such an inane comment. But, you know, if a cop shot this man, wouldn't necessarily say that he didn't bring it upon himself. In fact, that's probably what I would say. I'd say he brought it upon himself. What is this country with no firearms? So true, Doom Jesus. If it was anybody in America, like this jump alone is warrants drawing a gun and firing on him, I think. Honestly, that's my opinion. Five guys couldn't do it. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. We got 4 guys with hands on them. That might be his family watching in horror. Good eye, Omid, the PR guy. What a mess. This is like, if I was this Asian country, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that we need like any white people, any Russians enter your country, Hong Kong, you need to make sure you have a team able to subdue them. And what does that mean? What does that imply? That implies for any country, any Southeast Asian country hearing me right now, if for every Russian male that comes into your country, you need this X amount of Asian law enforcement to subdue them should the situation arise. What does that imply? That implies a Russian cap in your country. that implies an upper Russian limit, a URL, let's call it a UAL, upper Anglo limit. No, Russians aren't Anglos. What's a better umbrella term here, folks? Chat, help me. What's a better umbrella term? This implies that there is an upper white person limit in your country. And it is limited. The bottleneck is how many law enforcement Asians do you have to subdue them? Right? Tell me where I'm wrong. The implications are that there exists an upper Nordic limit, an upper Mongol limit in these Asian countries. I'm just saying. Look, if there's any city planners and poli-sci students in China or in Asian countries who are looking to develop the school of thought behind ordering your societies, you might want to look into this. An upper Nordo-Slavic limit to your country. Because you're having trouble subduing them. What a mess. You see how hard it is to subdue a single individual? Like, this is not even about them being small Asians and him being a bigger white guy. In general, this is just true. You know how hard it is to subdue an individual, a sufficiently motivated individual who does not want to be subdued? It requires some creative holds. It requires some creative, holds. Maybe from behind, holding down the neck area. I don't know. Maybe it requires some knees. It may require some hard parts of the body pressing down on particularly sensitive and not hard parts of someone else's body. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying, right? So I'm just telling you, it's actually kind of a little more, it's pretty difficult, especially if you want to subdue a sufficiently motivated individual without hurting them. Now that's another one. That's a whole nother can of worms. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, folks? This is important. This is important information. Obviously. But anyways, I wanted to show that to you. Let's see what else do I have for you. Let's see. What is this about Iranian motherships? Now, this is not really proper reporting. I don't have this the rundown for you. I don't have it. All I have is this guy who's a Republican congressman. And they're basically, I guess we should do a little bit more accurate here. The story goes, there are drone sightings. There are all these drone sightings. FBI asks public for help with new drone sightings. And this is in New Jersey. There's been sightings like this, I believe, around the country.
Mystery in the sky now.
I believe around the country.
Drones sighted all over the Northeast. The FBI is asking the public for help. Janae Norman is in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, with that story for us. Good morning, Janae.
Hey, Robin, good morning to you. Yeah, I'm here in Kennett Square because we've got a lot of fun coming up in our next hour regarding Christmas. But first, this story, it's making big news up where I live in North Jersey, Essex, Morris, Monmouth counties, where people are talking about this as far reported as Connecticut, all the way down here to the Philadelphia area, these drone sightings. And we are not talking about small toy-like drones that people would use for hobbies, but commercial grade drones, reportedly some the size of a small school bus or a small airplane. And
yeah, you guys know how big these can get? Have you seen like the DJI agriculture drones? They get huge. You may have not even laid eyes on them, and so you don't even know they may even exist. But it's kind of worthwhile just to lay eyes on them if you just didn't even know. You know, these agriculture drones, the types of vehicles you're going to be seeing in the air, they're going to get big. They're going to be even holding people. But yeah, these, just so you know what's already out there, agriculture drones and the like, they're pretty large. They're pretty large. And this is just one that's as big as him as a person. They get even bigger. And seeing them fly by is kind of surreal. It looks like, just looks weird. Like, they have those already? So just so, if you were interested,
And neighbors are reportedly seeing these drones flying at night or in the early morning hours in flocks and at low altitudes. Neighbors reported being woken up by a buzzing sound, and officials don't have any answers.
That is not an airplane.
It's the latest in a string of mysterious drone sightings posted on social media that has residents worried. And this morning, the FBI is investigating.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
The drones, which appear to have been much larger than recreational drones, have been spotted all over New Jersey over the past weeks.
It looks like a spaceship.
From near Bedminster, the location of President Trump's golf course, to Monmouth County, where the sheriff's office has made this map of reported sightings.
Characteristic triangle lights underneath.
To Morris County, where 21 mayors signed a letter voicing their concerns to New Jersey's Governor Murphy.
Is we don't see any concern for public safety. Having said that, it's really frustrating that we don't have more answers as to where they're coming from.
This is Governor Phil Murphy, New Jersey. So governors don't have the info. They're like, where's the FBI on this? FBI doesn't know.
And the sightings seem to be spreading.
This is the third time that it's come around.
With large drones reportedly in the sky around Philadelphia.
Look at it.
The mysterious flying objects preventing a medical helicopter from landing to pick up a car crash victim and prompting the FAA to issue flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights over Picatinny Arsenal Military Base and Trump National Golf Club Bedminster. And so the FBI tells us that they are still trying to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, those 21 New Jersey mayors, they are asking for not only a full investigation, but clear communication to local officials, law enforcement, and residents about what that investigation finds, as well as any necessary laws to prevent any unauthorized or unsafe use of drones that could impact the public, guys. Yep.
Interesting stuff. You know, you asked me UFO angle and all that. I don't really care about that. I was like, is it really that a stretch of an imagination that there are flying vehicles that people are a technology that the public isn't really aware of? Maybe even higher levels of a government, even maybe even military. That is it a public concern and a public safety concern to a degree, but national Homeland Security and all that there. Look, I'm not saying our government loves us, but they need us to work and make stuff. So they don't want drones killing us. I'll tell you that much. They need us to work and pay taxes and all that. So they don't want drones killing us. I'll let you know that much, okay? So yeah, I really don't know what it is, but these reports are coming around. There's one Republican congressman who is making a claim on exactly what this is, though. And it's such a wild claim, I don't know what to make of it. I'm the type of person to not put too much stock on claims or really what's going on. Like, your attention and your attention, your mind, and what you support and believe in is very valuable right now. It's a very valuable thing. It's been valuable because you're in America. Yeah, it's got problems, but you are in America. You are in America. So understand your position in the world and how your individual support is something that's being wrestled over. Because it's this support that will, down the line, bring many things. Bring even physical things, down to bombs and material for allies and key people, blah, 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 for the things they want to do. So I'm just the type of person to not put too much stock on much. I'm really leave space and all that. You know, you got this U.S. congressman, and I believe his name is Jeff Van Drew out of New Jersey, saying that these drones are part of an Iranian mothership, which is launching drones off the east coast of the United States. I mean, that's a pretty specific claim. You got an Iranian mothership that's launching all these drones, which are as big as the size of a bus, you heard, and they're on some sort of campaign and operation that we don't know about.
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. and from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources. I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information. And again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you the straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this. No. Our government and also certainly our hobbyists don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense. We've got to get them down. We've got to determine how they function, what they do, make sure that we can get them, and you're right, in a safe way. When I say shoot them down, get them down any way that you can, but right now they're probably extracting information. This is a clear and present danger to the United States and to our president-elect, and it's a serious business.
Scary stuff. Scary, so scary. But again, I implore and ask my audience to have some space. Your attention and your support is very valuable. Because what do we really know from this? Even from this report itself, this congressman says he's got the skinny from the guys up top. The guys up top can lie. And the guys up top rely on the guys like this guy to spread their lies. The guys up top can lie. So that doesn't mean anything to me, Mr. Congressman. And what did you tell me in this video? All you told me, the only thing you've expressed in this, concretely, in this video, is that there are drones flying in the sky and you think it's Iran and Iran is an enemy. That's really the only thing he said. Because he's saying Iran is doing this. And I'm not saying they're not. What do I know? I'm not here. I don't know. I really don't. But he's making a big claim. Prove it. What evidence? You know, Iran is doing this. Okay, maybe he's got the evidence. Maybe he's a big congressman and he's got all the evidence, right? What you lowly person, what you individual, you need the evidence. He's a congressman. Shut up. Okay. Then why did he give all these possible other options? If he's got it from the top and he's getting the information and it's Iran, why does he have to say it's also possibly hobbyists, but it's unlikely because of technology, blah, blah, blah. And it's also possible I forget something else he said. He said another possibility, but it can't be that, and he explains it away. It can't be that either. But why would possibilities even be in your mind? Why would that even be in your mind? I thought you knew it was Iran. You know what I'm saying? We know Iran's, and then he gives his evidence for it. He's like, well, the evidence is because we know Iran made some deal on purchasing drones like this. So you don't really know. Is that what you're telling me? Because you said, it's Iran, but everything you said afterwards made me question that. Like you wanted to put a reasonable doubt there. I know it's Iran. Maybe. Could also be other things. And my sources are good, he says. My sources are great. Let me be clear. Harris Faulkner there had a great question for him. This is a serious thing. Iran is launching vehicles that we don't know what they're doing, why, we don't know what's controlling them, into American airspace. Harris Faulkner says, well, we should shut down the airspace. I know it's the holidays. I know it'll be a mess, but this is an emergency. What does Congressman say? It made me think, if there really was a threat, they would shut down the airspace. If we had a foreign adversarial country who is currently fighting U.S. proxies and maybe even like people, and they're launching vehicles into American airspace, and they're not going to shut it down? That was a great question, Harris Faulkner. Why aren't they shutting it down? I feel like they would do that right away if there was a real threat. And he says, I'm telling you the straight deal, straight from the top. Yeah, the whole bunch of the people up top lie too. You heard me say it already. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying they can. So really, what did he concretely say? He said there are drones in the sky, and we think it's Iran, and we don't like him. We want to fight him. So yeah, that's that. Can we do this real quick before we end the show? Anti-drone technology. You might want to know this. Check this out. Anti-drone weapons. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so expensive to take these down, but we need more expensive and creative technology for the warfare of the future, or the warfare that might show up in your backyard. How do we take down these drones? I'm so thankful that people are creating implements and inventions to help us do these things in this crazy world. Thank you, technology.
Methods out there. One way to
Look
stall
at how
a
expensive and
typical
complicated
RC drone.
this looks. This looks expensive and complicated, just as expensive and complicated as a drone. Good thing we have an expensive, complicated weapon to stop them.
We'll get to in a little bit. But for now, this method is pretty effective against your average consumer-grade drone. One popular mechanism is the drone defender. And this can jam popular frequencies, including 433, 2.4, and 5.8 gigahertz.
Bro, that's bigger than a normal gun. It's like this woman soldier will be unable to carry a normal gun, but it's okay. That's the drone gun. We got to have a drone gun person, and now we have one less gun, but you got a drone guy.
It also has a GPS disruption on a separate trigger.
No, see, for the military, this makes sense, but I'm making fun of this a little bit because if I may present to you, allow me to present to you another implement that will stop a drone. Some ancient technology. Some of you might already have one of these. Behold, the Drone Stopper 500. Mossberg 500. How's a little buckshot for you?
How was that for a shock wave? How about a double shock wave? I don't like a pineapple looking at me in the face, to tell you the truth.
Wow!
Or
some buckshot, spread shot, get into them propeller blades. It's over, buddy. They ain't no more drone. In fact, a bunch of Ukrainian teams, in fact, this is normal loadout for Ukrainian assault teams. They got shotgun guys, and they're on duty to take down the drones, the FPV drones that suicide bomb into the Ukrainians. They got guys with shotguns specifically to take those drones down. So there you go. There's a little solution for you, low tech.
Or a pot. Yeah, or another leader.
Shout out Hickok45, one of the best to do it in the game. All right, y'all. But that's pretty much the show. What can I say? That's the topics, the super chats, the calls, and everything. We done squeezed every living drop out of this show. What do you think, folks? You guys got 1 minute to call me if you're going to do it. Don't do it. We're at the end of the show. We're done. Yeah, Doom Jesus, I got that from you. I told you Buckshot would fix it. That's where I got that from. That's it from me. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. We got open Bible Thumper Thursday, the rest of the Bond Network, and a little bit of Anchor Baby for you at the end. What else? We done squeezed every living drop out of the show, folks. That's the super chats, all the support. I'm just double checking, making sure we didn't miss anything. Beautiful. Amazing. Lin Yan Chin. I'm going to try and get Bill in here. And I'm going to try and remember, and we'll read those for Bill, okay? Appreciate all the super chats, everybody and everybody else. That's it from me. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye. Oh, and little Nick too, he's got to say bye-bye.